Give me one more. Hello, Fan Expo Canada! We're just trying to make it. So welcome to Toronto. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
And what do you like about Toronto, if you do?
I do. I'm out like Canada in general, you know. Love you too. What I like about Toronto. I mean, you know, I haven't been to. I've been here. I've come here for the film festival a couple times, and I shot something here. No, I'm not even trying to be cagey. I just can't remember the but you know, I wrote something here. I got a lot of like really cool work. The last time I was here, I got a lot of really cool work here, and I always credited that to really cool ass people and good. You know, I wrote it like coffee shops and shit. I can't really do that in most places, and so I think it was really just good people and good energy.
You just found Toronto inspiring.
I did, yeah. For real.
A city of muses. That's so great, yeah. Were you here in the winter or the summer? Because Toronto's a very different city.
The last time I was here, it was the summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when we're at our best, I think.
Right on.
Yeah, come here for that. Well, welcome back. We're happy to have you.
Thanks, man.
And generally, expos in general, do you have any moments that stick out? I'm sure you've been to so many. Any weird gifts you've been given, or really special interactions?
Oh yeah, always. Yeah, they're also. Look, this whole thing is such a. The whole thing is just such a blessing for me, and I would have never in a million years. It's so fucking cheesy, man. But I like this morning. I was walking out and I called my wife and I was thinking about I was like, shit, man. I missed my kid's football game yesterday, and I was like, man, I got so much I got to do, and I was like, dude, you're like, look at what the heck you're doing, and and it's like, I don't know. I would have never in a million years thought that that anybody would want to. Come say what's up, and it's such an honor. And then I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say, but it just means a lot that the work and resonates with people, and you can connect on stuff. And I think if you really, it's a blessing. It's just such a blessing. It's such an honor. So I don't think it's not even that there's like one special gift. It's that everybody that comes by, it's just a blessing, and I'm just so grateful for it.
That's a beautiful answer.
Is it?
Listen, you're the boss. Whatever you say is the answer. So we're all friends here. Don't worry about it. So let's go back, because I read that you studied theater a little bit in Moscow. And you also played on a pro baseball team in Moscow. Can you tell us a bit about your experience there in Russia?
Yeah, man. What do you want to know?
If you want, the baseball thing I think is super interesting, but theater school in Russia, I haven't gone through that experience, so I'm for one, I'm curious.
Yeah, look, I grew up. I didn't have any aspirations to be an actor. I didn't really know anything about it. Wasn't really exposed to that kind of thing. And I was really into playing sports. Played football and played baseball, and I boxed. And I was just kind of constantly getting in trouble. And went to school to play sports. I was not a great student. I was pretty much fuck up. If there's a wall to hit, I hit it. And there was a woman named Alma Becker. I have her name tattooed right here on my wrist. I took her class. I was such a dumb shit that when I went to school, you had to take an art requirement, and a lot of the guys that I played sports with said that you should take this thing called intro to theater, because you can sit in a big old room like this and watch movies and just kind of get high. And I was like, that sounds like it's for me. And me being the dumb shit that I was, I ended up in the intro to acting class, which was like for the 10 serious theater major guys. And I got there and it was like not a big room like this. It was like 10 weird ass theater kids like sitting on the floor. And I was like, oh shit. And the first assignment was to bring in something that you really cared about. And I completely forgot to do that. And these people were talking, they were sharing these items and like crying and emoting. And I was like, these are the weirdest freaking people on earth. But somehow it was like working its way across this circle to me, and I realized I didn't have anything. And so I grabbed my catcher's glove because I was going to fall baseball practice right after, and I launched into this story about how my mom had bought me this catcher's glove on her deathbed. And my mom's like alive and well in DC. I'm telling this story about my dead mom, and I'm like crying my eyes out, and I look around the room and everyone's crying their eyes out. I'm like, yo, I'm just doing the acting. Y'all need to chill. You know? And then this woman, Alma, she like kicked everybody out. She ripped my ass up about, you know, violating the sanctity of her studio. But she said, you know, you have something. She said, you know, I want you to learn this speech, this monologue, and come audition for the play. And I did it. And I got into this play, and it totally changed my life. And from that point on, that was it. And I had later gotten in some trouble. I had to leave school. And Alma was really there for me, and I went to her. It's not such a long-ass answer, a short-ass question, but like, she said, hey, I said to her, hey, I really want to be an actor. She'd give me all these books, and she really stuck by me. And I said, how did you do it? You know, it's like being a plumber, right? Like you're like being a doctor. Like, what are the steps you got to take? She said, it doesn't really work like that. But she said, if I were you, you know, I think the best theater school in the world's in Moscow Art Theater. And she got me an audition, yeah, it made, I moved there, and I didn't speak a lick of Russian, and it was Moscow in the late 90s. It was an incredibly brutal place, but incredibly beautiful place, and I think for me, I really responded to that kind of training. It was incredibly intense and disciplined, harder than boxing, harder than football, harder than anything I'd really gone through. You know, in Russia, there's statues on every corner of playwrights and poets, and being an artist was a very masculine thing. It was a very, for lack of a better word, it was a very patriotic thing, and it was not a coddling environment at all. In Russia, you know, during communist times, you know, you couldn't do this. You couldn't have public gathering. It had to be state sponsored. So the theaters, there's no theaters. There was only state-sponsored theaters, and so you could do shows, but they would have to be with a pro-state message. And the Moscow Art Theater was one of those theaters, and a lot of actors and directors, once the state started deeming what you were doing as not pro-state, they would start assassinating. Some of the most famous actors and directors were assassinated in Moscow or sent to prison. A lot of my teachers were dealing with that. They were doing plays in secret, in subway tunnels and abandoned buildings, because it was so important to them to keep performing and to keep doing it, even though they knew if they got caught, they'd get in prison. So that was sort of, you know, that was kind of like there's a vitality. For me, I was headed to such a bad place that this acting thing kind of really saved my life. And so to get taught by these people who it was so vital to, who laid so much on the line for it, it shaped everything I did. It really, she saved my life, that place saved my life, and it was, like I said, an incredible, I can tell you, you know, incredibly brutal place, but equally as beautiful. And I often think those things go hand in hand. And I'll always be grateful to that place and to Alma, God rest her soul. And she ended up marrying my wife and I too. She was a minister. So.
Incredibly inspiring, but it sounds like the stakes have always been very high. Like theater felt serious for you from the beginning, is that right? And I know you identify as a method actor. Is that right? Or is that a term you don't really sort of?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's, you know, look, I think, you know, method. You know, there's Stanislavski. That was his theater, right? People called it like the method because. I mean, I don't want to give you all fucking, I'm sounding like an asshole in the theater, but look, I think that it gets confused. I think some people, you know, go to set every day and you know, they make you only call them by their character's name, or, you know, they only eat the food that the character eats and all that, and like, God bless you if that's your thing. I don't do any of that shit. God bless you if you do, whatever floats your boat. I think for me, you know, you got all these wonderful people, working so incredibly hard. You know, people, it's messed up, and I think actors get all this attention, but it's all these incredible people come together to build this thing. This incredible electricians and grips and seating artists. We get these like unbelievable artists, these great fucking writers and cinematographers and camera people and just the best artists in the world coming together to work on something that, when you think about it, there's just these few sacred seconds between action and cut. And you work sometimes months, years. This is somebody's dream. They put so much into it. So all these people come together to work on this thing for just these few seconds to work. And so for me, you know, being the monkey with the fucking makeup on and shit, saying the lines, like those sacred seconds between action and cut, for me, if I'm in a certain place that I need to be in for that, I'm not gonna be like on my cell phone or eating Chinese food with my friends and be like, oh, hold on 1 second. No, I'm ready. Like if I'm playing Frank Castle, you know, and he's got oh shit.
It's okay. You said like if I'm like hypothetically, but you're not. Is that just a dress canvas?
I don't even know what. Anyway, if you're doing something like that, you know, I think no matter what you're doing, fuck that. I mean, no matter what you're doing, you know, it's like you know, for me, you gotta get into, you know, again, it's that those sacred moments, there's a build up to that, so you gotta get into that, you gotta be around, so you gotta start like wardening off things that are distractions, things that are different. You gotta kind of keep your energy, so that's what I do, if that's method. So sometimes, you know, people think that, but I don't need anybody to know, but I don't need anybody to, you know, call me by a different name or anything. It's only for me and my and just being really, you know, kneeling at the altar of the project, kneeling at the altar of the character and the story that you know, yeah. That's all. Does that make any sense? We all want the best for our families. We're all struggling. We're all got hurt. We all are things that we're proud of. You know what I mean? And storytelling's been around forever. You get to do that. You know, when I was a kid, there was a little picture book in the doctor's office. I remember of it was Babe Ruth, right? I used to read it, and there was this one caption, big old fat Babe Ruth, and he was kneeling on this little stoop next to Yankee Stadium, and he was like throwing a hot dog into his mouth, and he was like, kid. He was talking to some kid, he goes, I don't know why I'm telling this shit, but he was like, kid, man, I get paid to play baseball and eat hot dogs. He's like, can you imagine anything better? And that really stuck me, man. It's such a blessing, dude. Do something you love, and you know what I mean? So, you gotta honor it. Yeah.
I think we can sense the gratitude. That's fantastic. And like you said, you want to kiss it and say, what did you say, that turned it out? Is that your phrase?
Oh, yeah.
So, you do, and I think one of the other things you do, you know, you're a performer, of course, and you do a lot of your own stunts. So I'm curious, is there a stunt that's
hurt? You know, there's times I remember like getting like really hurt. You know what I mean? Then you know, finishing it before the hospital and stuff.
like, do you care to?
I don't think. Can I talk about that?
Oh, if you don't name, wait, hang on a second. This is a good question. I think if you don't name the film, if you keep it real vague. In a hypothetical.
No, I mean there's one where, you know, like I got a bunch of, you know, it was like a 3-day fight scene, and I tore on the first day I tore the ligaments in my hand, and then kept going, and dislocated it, and then broke my thumb, and then by the end my hand was just like a big fucking, but we got it done, and then on that particular one they wrote in that like my hand got, you know, but yeah. So I remember that, like that was hard because I was hurt, but like no, I really, you know, really like coming from sports and fighting and stuff, that stuff I'm very comfortable with that. I don't need to I don't need to prepare. I mean, I need to prepare and practice and train with everybody, but I don't need to be in like a certain mental state to do that stuff. It's the acting is, for me, is way harder. I'm way more comfortable with the you know, the physical stuff and athletics. Yeah.
Man, that's so interesting. So the writers are just frantically watching, like, what injuries do we have to write in?
Other side, and that exposure, that breeds and fosters empathy. You start caring about the other side. So it kind of came in the wake of, I think mostly, you know, George Floyd. You know, I grew up in DC, and issues of race and policing are enormously close to me and my family. And you know, I was horrified and disgusted by what I saw in those videos. You know, in all of them, but you know, with George Floyd. And I wanted to be out there, part of the uprising, part of the protest. But then I'd also turn on the news, and I would see people throwing bottles at police officers, and you know, police officers in riot gear, and not seeing them as, you know, my friends who are police officers, some of my dear friends. And so any time that I would go out and be part of the protest, I'd also go down to Newton Division or other precincts in LA and show my support there. And I was just wondering, why can't you be both? Like, why can't you? And then I started thinking that, you know, a lot of my friends were career-long, you know, legendary police officers in LAPD, crash unit, down in Newton Division. I knew what kind of people they were, and I also knew people from the community that they policed, people who, you know, maybe at one point were involved with gangs at one point, but now are just so community-minded. I knew these police were so community-minded, and I knew that these two people, if I sat them down together, they would be finishing each other's sentences. They respect the same things, they laugh at the same things, but all we want to do is look at these people like they're on opposing sides. And I thought, wow, like, why not talk about race and policing with them? And they would be able to look at folks in their own community. You know, the cop could look at folks in his own community and say, man, that's somebody I really respect. That guy I don't respect that much. And same for the guy on the other side. And he would be able to say, wow, here's a cop that I really respect. Here's a guy from this housing project that we have all these issues with that I really respect. And now those two are like super good friends, you know? And so it just, that kind of, man, I'm rambling, dude. That kind of resulted in just, you know, with my frustration with discourse, just having people, models out there to talk to that I'm so blessed to learn from, that I would really want my kids to learn from. So it's, you know, it's special forces soldiers, it's surgeons, it's teachers, it's, you know, I mean, it's activists, it's all, it's just folks who really walk the walk, don't just talk about it. And it's been really, really cool to be here and talk to so many folks who dig the show. And it's really, last thing in the world I want to do is get more of myself out there. It's not, you know, but it's really about the people that come on, and I'm so grateful to them, and they're incredible. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. One of the parts of your job, of course, you're constantly put in front of a microphone and in a spotlight, and I'm sure there, of course, beyond yourself, things that you want to talk about. So what a great opportunity to spin that around and give other people a chance and support and platforms and conversations that, you know, you have a platform you can share to other people who often aren't listened to. So great, keep doing that.
Like after this performance.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I didn't see, there was no question there. I didn't see you off.
I appreciate you, bro.
That's on me. Great, so on that note, I think it's a perfect time to move over to a Q&A.
Oh.
So you'll see a microphone right in the middle here. If you are able, you can pop up over to this microphone. If for some reason you're not able to get to the microphone, just raise a hand and we'll find a way to come to you. Just a few quick little primers before we get to this Q&A. Oh my goodness. Okay, so
here's what you say. I love hot moms. Is that what you should say?
That's a statement. Hot Mom podcast. Okay, so the first thing here is that, of course, please remember we have the SAG-AFTRA strike. There are certain things that John is not able to talk about, so please be mindful with your questions. The second thing is Q&A. The Q stands for Q, which stands for question. So the important thing there is that you ask a question. Sometimes folks come up and they're super excited and they get a bit nervous and they just say something. And then poor John doesn't really know what to say back. We're all kind of confused, and it kills a lot of time. So just make sure what you say ends in a question. John knows what to say back. You can see this line is already super long, so please keep your question nice and focused. And then you can head back and the next person can come up and ask. So let's start with the first question here.
My name is Daniel, I'm from Toronto. First off, I want to make an opening statement that when you attended Chandler Riggs' graduation spoke volumes about your character, that you're a selfless person. I really admire it and I applaud your character, and I like to model that as well, to be selfless. My question is which actor on any situation you learned the most, like you nitpick, and which actor did you nurture and help with in their craft?
So I think an actor that inspired you, and maybe one you feel like you've inspired in turn?
Like you nurtured them and you helped them elevate their craft. Mentor someone. Sorry.
Yeah, look, I mean, so many that I've learned from. Look, the great thing about one of the great things, like I think like marriage and fatherhood and also, you know, this thing that I'm trying to do, I dig all those things because they're you're always gonna fail at them. You're never gonna have it licked. You're never gonna be the perfect dad. You're never gonna be the perfect husband. You're never gonna be the perfect artist. It's a journey. You're chasing it. You keep working. You keep failing every day. You keep trying hard. You know your heart's in the right place. You know you want it. You're hungry to learn more. Hungry to get better. So honestly, I know this sounds totally cheese dick, but I learn from everybody, man. Like I learn like every single time I'm on, I'm learning from everybody there. And I think, you know, for me, it's just like trying, and it's not just like, it's not, you know, it's not the actor, it's everybody. You know, and I think nowadays we're so, you know, with our noses so far into these phones, and you're fucking holding your phone up right now. I didn't mean it like that. You know, I just think that there's so much of life that causes us to go in and now, man, keep your phone. I didn't mean to say that. I literally did not. It just, look, I just gotta be honest. I seen it. I'm sorry. You're a great man.
My eyes are the real camera.
Okay, right on. But yeah, but I think that so much of it is it's all out there. Like keep your eyes open, keep your heart open, and like you know the answers are kind of there, and you can get so much in. And so look, there have been folks that I've worked with that are extremely that are extremely good leads, like that are extremely good kind of like leaders. And I try to take from that, you know, I think it's true in all kinds of work. I think atmosphere for good work only happens when someone's able to kind of pulverize the hierarchy that's there, where people can feel good ideas can come from anywhere. I think the biggest mark of mediocrity in so many different professions is when somebody hovers over you and tells you how to do your job. You're there for a reason. It doesn't matter what you do. Like let that person fly. Like let that person go. Let that person feel creative. Like, feel energy. And so in the environments that are like that, I learn a ton. You know. Dude, that was really good about not naming a specific, because that was an honest ass answer, and I didn't.
No, that was good. I think it was A+. I'm done. Thank you so much. Next up.
Hi, sorry, I'm really nervous. I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do. My son and I love you in The Walking Dead. Unfortunately, he has a disability, so I couldn't bring him to the Expo. I was wondering if you would mind saying hi to him on video. His name is Zayden.
Yeah, come on up here. Come on up here.
I'm just going to take a video and then show the video.
You want me in it with you?
Say yes.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna get out of the back.
What's up, Zayden? I'm here with Mama. She loves you. We love you. We wish you were here, man. We're just, you're in our hearts and on our minds. Could you show everybody say what's up?
Woo!
Thank you so much.
That was great. Thank you so much. Slightly nervous about this one, but next question.
Hello. So this comes from my boyfriend Gus. He is
Boyfriend who?
Gus.
Gus.
Gustavo. Short for Gustavo.
Oh, God.
Got it. Okay. So what's your question?
Yeah, he's a big Walking Dead fan. He says, Lori didn't deserve you. Do you agree?
No, I know. I do not agree with Gustavo.
Question and answer. Thank you very much. Good luck in speaking. Can I say speaking? I can't say that name. Thank you. Okay, next up.
Oh, God.
Hi, my name is Daha, and there's a really famous scene in one of your really famous films where you're in a courtroom, and you go crazy. You said something like, "I did it because I liked it." I was wondering if you could say that line in front of everyone in that manner.
I'm gonna jump in for a sec, which don't try and get a free cameo. I'm sure there are ways to go to an autograph table or something. Do you wanna? I'm trying to save you. Do you want to do that?
No.
Okay, great. So I appreciate that. Great question. The answer's politely no. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey John, welcome to Toronto.
Thank you, brother.
My question is, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself just as you were starting out your career, what advice would you give yourself?
Good ass question. Oh man, my gut tells me like, I would say, hey man, like don't, something about, feel like you gotta, bleed out for this thing. Don't feel like you gotta, I think a lot of young people who do it where it's really important to them, especially if they were headed for things. I wasn't just headed for, I wasn't really into that. It was just not working life, and so you find this thing that all of a sudden the same energy that used to get you in like tons of trouble or used to wind you up in like really bad places, this wildness, this recklessness, this abandonment, you find something all of a sudden you can use it towards like positivity, and people are like giving you positive feedback. You then like need to, you feel like you need to like live, you need to hold on to this like recklessness and this abandonment and this danger, and I think that can be really selfish, and I think I would have said to myself, don't grind so hard that way. But the truth is, man, is that like our journey's our journey, man, and like, I don't know if that, that kid needs to hear from, like he needed to do what he needed to do, and like you change when you're ready, you grow when you're ready. I know that there was a part of me that there's a part of me that I don't know. There's part of me that I think that like when I was young that I just wanted to keep doing it. I didn't care where. I didn't care whether I was doing dinner theater or community theater or a TV show. Like I just wanted to keep doing it so bad, and that's all that mattered. And I got some like really good advice when I was young that it took me a long time to kind of really understand how true it is. And this incredible actress named Cherry Jones, she said there's like 3 things for a young actor. She said, always live within your means, like whether you're doing well, you're not doing well, like always keep your money the same, like you don't need fancy shit, just stay humble with that. Never base your career happiness on your personal happiness, but always remember the most important thing is the people you meet along the way. And it's that 3rd thing, man, it's the people you meet along the way. It's the only thing that I'm convinced, man, like that's what is truly the gift. That's truly the blessing. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I answered your question. I really did try.
That was a great question. Thank you so much.
I had a shitty answer.
Hi John, I'd like to ask about Hot Ones. Would you ever do it again? And
what?
Hot Ones, the wing show.
Oh, you say goblins. I'm like,
And does it just wreck the rest of your day?
the hot ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that whole concept about going out is worse than going in, and I didn't know what that was. You know what I mean? I got to the airport. Who was I with? I was with this, I was with this young woman who was she was like working in the pub, because I guess I was promoting something or something, and we happened to be on the same plane, and I was driving to the airport, and I was like, yo, there's something serious there. I didn't know what it was. I was like, there's something serious there. And then I got in the airport, and I was like, yo. And I was like, in there, and I was like, I don't know if I can get on this plane. It's so bad. It was so bad, and so bad, like screaming. It was terrible. It was terrible.
I've done them all.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Holland's so good.
Oh my God.
Hi, John. My name's Annika. I was just wondering, I know you did a show recently about food and cooking, and I was wondering if you had any training or just like to cook anything special.
Oh, thanks.
It was amazing.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I cook for my kids, you know? I got a couple key. I don't have like a vast array of shit, you know what I mean? But like, I got a few.
Like specials?
I got one. It's like an old family recipe. It's like this. It's this pasta. It's like with a light cream sauce,
nice.
some prosciutto ham, some peas. It's banging. Yeah, my kids love it.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hi, John.
Hi.
I was just wondering if there's any problems you've encountered getting into podcasting?
Oh yeah. I mean, shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, it's hard. Look, you know, a lot of the folks that a lot of the people that come on my show are people that I know from my regular life, and people that are extraordinarily close with me, and whether they're, you know, former head of a Hells Angels club, or a guy who, you know, was with like a Marine Raider, or like whoever it is. My brother's a cancer surgeon, you know, like every person that I have up there, not used to, you know, getting on camera and talking about it, and you know, the whole thing is like real ones. It's not just like a bullshit conversation. We're trying to get into it, and that comes at a real cost, and it's you know, I do not enjoy asking people to do it, you know, and it's weird now. People are it's kind of coming the other way, and I'm really grateful for that. But I know what that, you know, put a camera in someone's face. I never want to do that, but you have to check your intentions always. Like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because this is going to be a big show? Or are you doing it because you really think this is going to reach somebody and help somebody? And if this person can talk about their hurt and their hunger and their pain, and what's that going to do for all these people? Wow, he can talk about that, or she can talk about that. Damn, so I can too. Like, I've been down this road. Or shit, I'm headed towards this. I better go here. You know, like if it can have that kind of positive effect, then you gotta have the conversation. So that's been the hardest thing for me, is that being like, hey, would you feel like doing this? No worries if you don't. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question, thank you. And unfortunately, we're tight on time, so we have time for 3 more questions, including this next one. So if you are beyond that third person, we're not going to be able to get to you.
You want to just do rapid?
Yeah, well, do rapid fire, see how far we
just
get.
go real quick so y'all don't get fucked.
So
far you're not being quick.
So yeah, thanks for coming by to the Expo. So I'm curious, what was your experience working along with other big names like Michael Pena or Shia LaBeouf, or even Brad Pitt, in projects like Fury?
Super big honor, bro.
Yeah,
hey John, I'm a huge fan. I met you when you were promoting Ford versus Ferrari. Super fucking cool. But anyways, I wanted to say is when you were filming Fury, did you actually see any like divorce sites over there, like in Germany, like from the wars and anything?
We did.
Yeah. What did you enjoy, or what was more like kind of stuck with you? Because I went to Juno in Omaha and I've been to Berchtesgaden and like where they ate in Germany.
There's so much, man. I got to meet folks that were over there. You know, it's best among us, best generation among us. You know, incredible. Yeah.
Great question. Thank you so much.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. It's nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
I was just wanted to say I really enjoyed your work on the cooking show, and I was wondering if there's any behind the scenes, just any like interesting facts about filming that big episode with the family flashback.
Man, just beautiful people. Beautiful people. Yeah, beautiful. Such an honor. Such a blessing.
Great question. We've done 2 more.
into the film industry and I'm like studying film and all that, and I just wanted to know, like, when you get on set for the first time, there's just like, you see so many roles that you like didn't know existed, and so much behind the scenes stuff. And I was just wondering, like, after being on set for so many years, like, what were roles that you just like found out on set that you, like, if you weren't acting, you would have been interested in doing?
That I'd be interested in doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
or like you would have done if you weren't acting.
Man, I can't do shit besides this. It is humbling how many, not just how many though, but how just great everybody is. How great everybody is, you know? And just so much talent, so much amazing artistry. It's such a beautiful thing. All these people coming together, and usually from completely different walks of life. You know, every race, every religion, every sexual orientation, every political belief. You know, you got all kinds of folks all coming there to come together to build something like that. I love it. Love it.
Thank you. Your last one, and ironically or coincidentally, it's I Love Hot Moms guy. I don't know how that works.
I love hot moms, but you know, you gotta love your mom the most. I don't know what
That got confusing.
You really love hot mom? Like, explain to me that. Like, just like,
I just turned 19, you know, I have got my milk card, so you know, it's not.
And what's your question?
It was gonna be more serious, but John, I'm Tony. I'm an aspiring voice actor and actor in Toronto. Lovely to meet you. Thank you for being an inspiration to all the young guys that maybe don't know what they want to do, but they want to do good. You're truly an inspiration. Thank you. My question was, out of all the scenes that you shot in Wolf of Wall Street, what was maybe your favorite or the most fucked up?
Punching Yoda. Punching Yoda.
You can't tell nothing?
It's pretty struck. Sorry, my friend. It's too specific. But a great, best of luck with
who's your favorite work with on the movie, maybe? Scorsese's just an amazing director, alright?